Welcome to Michael Pepper Tech. I hope you all are having a wonderful, wonderful evening. And thanks for joining me. I have some things to cover, some things to talk about, and I hope that you all will join me. So, this past week, I dropped a device and I posted a video about that. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. And sometimes when we buy these devices and we never know how the company's going to treat us, and if you buy it online from overseas, I bought an import and unfortunately was at the gas station filling up the gas. Hi, Sneed. And dropped it, and it happened to land right on the edge. I hadn't thought of the fact that this particular device, the way the case is designed, it didn't really cover the edge very well, and hit right on the corner of the cement pad below the gas pump. Had it not had that pad there, had it been just a normal flat, it probably would have been okay. Cracked it. So I contacted the website where I bought it, and that's not under warranty or anything, but fortunately they do have a way for you to reach out and contact them, and they nicely are going to arrange the returning of that to China so it can get repaired at one of the shops there and get sent back to me through official repair. I probably could have had a part sent here and had it done here, but that's the problem, you know. Just it's just the glass, and what kind of sucks about the whole situation is that when I went online to look, I could find the part if I was in India, China, parts of Europe for it's the equivalent of about 5 USD, and it's pretty cheap. But to have the tools, because it has to be delaminated and relaminated and to guarantee that it's going to be okay, I don't want to risk trying to do it myself. I also don't want to risk having the part sent here, somebody does it, and then now I've voided any warranty. And yeah, warranty isn't going to cover that, but if it was a faulty device, they do still stand behind the device, as far as the website, has warranty support and stuff like that. And so I don't want to risk that. If it was outside of warranty, if I couldn't get it repaired by sending it back there, that'd be one thing. Now, just a short few months ago, the problem would have been getting it sent back to them. It would have been even finding a way to get it shipped out of here because of, the whole situation with the virus and things like that. And some countries were on lockdown, some countries wouldn't even let you send products in or return them. I have arranged with DHL, I've set up an account, and it yeah, it's going to take a while. I am going to guess, well, I paid extra on shipping to get it here, so it took about a week to ship here, but normally a lot of this stuff it can take a month for shipping one way. I'm hoping that it won't cost too much and I can do shipping and get it there in a week, have it fixed in a few days, and then back to me. So I'm hoping it will take maybe 3 weeks to a month at most. Now, the real bummer is I don't want to risk damaging it anymore, dropping it, having moisture get on it, things like that. I had considered continuing to do my coverage on it, but I've realized that I don't want to risk, totally ruining the device and, a $900 device basically. And so that's kind of my thought when it comes to you know, getting this back to them. I have the X Fold, also from Vivo, also bought through the same site, and that device is actually sitting in front of me on the desk right here. And that device has just been sitting. I'm doing a standby test to see how long the battery lasts from 100% to nothing. Literally, the only thing I do is upload the screenshots to Twitter so I can keep track of that. And I'm waiting on, I actually ordered a couple, I ordered a case and I ended up ordering two from Vivo directly. Well, from Giztop, it's the Vivo official cases coming for that. Hopefully, that gives me a little more peace of mind. Just like the normal Fold, I have the um, VRS design, lovely case for that there. And I thought it would be fine. I thought that the case would provide plenty of protection, but I wasn't really thinking about the edge being super exposed like that. And my luck, I don't really ever drop a device. And unfortunately, that's what happened. Let me fix my mic here. That's unfortunately what happened. And, so now I have a device that's just kind of sitting and not really going to do me too much good. I am going to pull up some articles here and kind of go over some interesting things that I saw in the tech news over the last couple days. Let me see here. I am trying to remember. So, one of the more interesting things was, of course, ad block. Stupid. There was a CEO from a tech company that was linked to the 1992 killing of a California woman. That was in NBC News. Apple's being sued again by Ericsson. That has to do with some patents with their 5G technology. They've been sued for 2G, 3G, and 4G stuff with them before. Basically, Apple had an agreement with them, and then they decided that they didn't want to pay what Ericsson wanted them to pay, so they just stopped paying them. And they're hoping that basically they can throw money at it and have it cost less and just kind of wash it under the bridge there. Some other things that are going on is the Xiaomi 12S Ultra. People are getting that in their hands. That officially shipped out. Let's see, I think they started shipping on the 10th. And so people are getting that device in hand now. Also, over the next week or so, we should start seeing people getting their hands on the Pixel 6a and some coverage on that. I do believe that the kind of preliminary people getting their hands on it and being able to test it before official release should be happening over this next week or so here. I think starting maybe later this week. I've got some products coming in hand through um, being shipped that I will be covering soon, and I can't really talk about. And so I'm looking forward to that. Got some things today through the mail, through DHL that I will be making content on. And as soon as those items go public, you all will see and know, and I can release those videos. I got, like I said, a couple devices that I kind of repurchased that I had before and kind of come into the idea that technology purpose for me has changed, and some of these products that I wasn't really enjoying before, I'm loving using now. The Z Fold 3, the iPad Pro 12.9 inch, and a lot of that is software base. And so if you all, think about technology and think about what you use, I'd be curious to know how beneficial software versus hardware is for you guys. And, is that something that you consider one thing more important than the other, a good balance between the two? Have you had purchases that maybe when you initially bought it, there were some issues with hardware or software and you gave it a chance again? Be interesting to know because I feel like there are so many products that we get and we use and we look at that maybe the first impressions aren't the best. Maybe the software needs some tuning. And, that makes me think about how some of these companies, if we think about the way that Apple kind of does things, there are people that are constantly running beta software because they drop a version of it. And then as soon as it becomes the public official version, there'll be a next version. Like iOS 16 is in beta. And, a month or so from now, the official final version probably will be out, but I am expecting that as soon as that drops, we're gonna see iOS 16.0.1 or 16.1 beta drop. This is constantly happening, and developers are having to constantly keep up and update their apps. Now, fortunately, if they're on 16.0, 16.01, 16.1, most of the time, most of the things are gonna be okay, and it's just gonna be some bugs. It might be a build of Safari or Mail or some things like that that they're working on, ironing out. Sometimes some of those things are, though, the features that they say, we're bringing later this year will come in a point one, a point two, a point three, a point four, or a point five update. Hello, Renz. How are you? Hopefully you're having a wonderful day. Um, and so when I think about this, I kinda wish that they would just stop doing that. Don't do I understand that in order to find the bugs, in order to find the kinks, the public kind of is necessary because they don't have enough people to create kind of a group to test as far as developers and to see how many people are gonna have issues. We don't they don't there aren't hundreds of thousands or millions of developers that they can grab that from necessarily. And as a, mass use of a magnitude of apps. And so when I think about it, it sort of makes sense, but I wish that they would just hold off. Just drop an update once a month, like Google kind of does with some of their updates. Um, if it's something that's kind of we're going to add features and it's not fixing bugs, maybe, you know, every quarter drop that in there. It just gets a little absurd when there's constantly these updates and it's like, well, if I don't want that update, I gotta, drop out of the betas, uninstall beta profiles, remove myself from public beta program. And then if there's something that a feature that I want to test early, put myself back into it when it's available again. And it's just a little bit unnecessary. And then we have companies, like I said, like Google, that are doing some interesting things. And I just wish that they would kind of go their own direction, go their own way, as the song said, um, and stop kind of trying to follow the lead of other companies. Because I noticed that some of the things they're doing is very Apple-esque as far as being like, oh, we're just going to, because we know that they have features ready, features that they could have, things that they could have done with the Pixel 6. And we're now seeing that with the Pixel 7, but the Pixel 7 hardware-wise, it's a new chip and maybe a new camera sensor. But apart from that, it's pretty much Pixel 6 territory, and a lot of it's software. And, I'm hoping that they put a brighter screen on there. I know that you can get fairly bright screen if you do auto brightness, but just the manual brightness would be nice to be able to turn that up. And also faster charging. There are just some things that they could have included that I feel like they left out so that they can sell the Pixel 7, so they can get people to upgrade, maybe that already bought the Pixel 6. Um, people aren't upgrading yearly and they know that, but also you're gonna have some people that maybe got the Pixel 6 and returned it because they were frustrated with some of the early issues, and now you're gonna try to convince them to get the Pixel 7, and there's gonna be people selling used Pixel 6s on the market. I know that they're gonna stop selling the Pixel 6, just kind of like what they did when the 5A came out, they stopped selling the Pixel 5, and so we're gonna start seeing, carrier availability for that going away as the 6A comes out, and we're already starting to see these discounts. I've had some people ask me, "Well, what's to get me to buy the Pixel 6A when the Pixel 6 is available for $50 more, and the 6 Pro is on extreme discount, and you can get that for, um, you know, $250 difference than the 6A, where, before it was like double the price. What's to keep people from buying those devices? And it's simple that they just won't be available unless you're going to used market or the few that are left in stock at some of these carriers. And I think that, Google's idea is they want you to buy their device no matter the price level. And we all know that even the most expensive devices don't cost that much to manufacture. I mean, the most expensive iPhones that are selling for 14, $1,500, we have phones that are selling for $1,600, 15, $1,600 sometimes, that they might cost 450, $500 to manufacture. Um, and it's crazy. So that's kind of the direction I see that then the market's going, is more of a gradual shift, and a lot of it's software based. But then the question is, what are they doing and holding on to? Because realistically, the only thing that I can't really get on a non-Pixel is their on-device voice to text. But even that, other companies are starting to do on-device voice to text stuff, and Samsung has been working with Google to use Google's voice to text voices and some of their technology inside Bixby, and so we'll see the shift with that coming soon. I can get a lot of the portrait mode stuff, the portrait lighting, the tones as far as like the skin tone stuff is coming to Google Photos, including being able to do that on an iPhone. So it's not even that Google's like, well, we make money because Android manufacturers are making stuff, but when it's available, and sometimes their stuff they share is available over on iOS before it's available on the rest of the Android devices. We've seen that. And right now, it's really a software battle. Hardware has gotten so good between most of these companies that it comes down to software. It comes down to who can make it run the smoothest, who can make it the fastest, who can make it so that I can get functions that I need to happen now, who can make it so that when I click that shutter button, the photo is taken right away. That's kind of the race of things right now. Who can provide the best quality? Who can provide the best resolution? Who can provide the natural depth of field? Who can provide these functions in such an easy way that everybody benefits, everybody gets access to it, and not everybody has to be an expert in these things? You don't have to be an expert photographer with some of these devices to take a beautiful image. Yeah, you have to know about framing, and you have to know about perspective, and you have to know about some basic stuff to have an image look good, but you don't have to know about exposure or shutter speed or ISO or f-stops. As far as that is, you can just pull out the device, be in auto, and take some beautiful images. Same thing with video, and same thing with the night mode. A lot of these devices switch into a night mode for you automatically, and will do the long exposure and will do the adjustments. Some of them will even suggest crops for you, and will suggest the way that you compose. There's composition help. There's things that they're doing, but I will also say that there are some of these devices where the auto stuff, you sacrifice some things. Being able to switch between sensors, you don't get some of the same benefits. You don't get some of the same options. A lot of times it'll drop you to 1080p 30, you lose 4K 30, you lose 4K 60. Sometimes you can do 4K 30 and switch between them. Sometimes you have to be on the ultra wide to be able to go from ultra wide to wide and back to ultra wide. If you're on the wide angle, you can go from that to telephoto, but you can't go from ultra wide to telephoto without dropping down. Um, the sometimes it's the same thing with the front facing cameras where you still don't get to open up features if they don't make it available within an API. And these are things that I've really been thinking about looking into, digging into, because as analytical, as nerdy, as deep down diving I can do into these things, it's all about, okay, what can everybody use? You know, if somebody were to grab my phone here and go into the camera and be in, video or be in the normal photo mode, can they compose an image and just snap a shot and have it look good? Or do they need to go into the pro mode where you can select all the different lenses, you can select, all the different settings there, autofocus mode, shutter speed, ISO, the sort of focus it's using, the if it's using like the Zeiss processing, RAW versus JPEG and RAW on its own, JPEG on its own. These are things that people, you don't need to be a genius to use the auto mode, and so these companies are focusing on that, no pun intended. They're looking into kind of what appeals to the general consumer, and those are the companies that sell the most of the tech. If you think about it, as mad and as annoyed as people get with companies like Apple because, they want all these extra features, they want all these things to work. They want all this added customization and all these options because they're saying, I bought the hardware, I should be able to do all these adjustments. The appeal that some of these products have, like the iPhone, like the Pixel, even like the Xiaomi devices, the Redmi line, and some of these devices that have the really great cameras and really great hardware, but they have simple UI, simple design software, is that people don't want to have to tinker with it. People don't want to have to go into the software and make all these adjustments. There are some people that buy a Pixel or buy an iPhone because they don't want to have to go in and turn on developer options and adjust uh, pixel density and adjust all these things. They just want to have a smooth experience without having to turn things off, without having to install some sort of launcher that gives them that simple swipe up and you're into all your apps. And so, but other people want the folders. And so that's where Samsung comes into play, and that's where other companies come into play that let you adjust things, and there's good lock, and there's all these options. But that's what I love about technology. That's what I love about doing what I do and getting to kind of look into and explore the different companies. And I have to buy a lot of these products to do this, and as I explore and do what I'm doing more and more, and I get on live streams and I'm talking with people and I'm seeing what people want mostly not what some of us get on and complain and rant about, people if people wanted that stuff, the company would provide it. These companies don't sell hundreds of millions of devices by not providing what people want. If a company can remove a feature, it's because they know that people won't care and people were already doing things like Bluetooth earbuds and headphones were selling way, way, way before any companies removed the headphone jack. People were buying these things because they could pair them and they could, walk away, walk around, they could be on the phone, they could talk. Commercials with Motorola with the single ear, people, buying the wrap around the neck Motorola headbands, the people buying LG Tone products. This has existed way, way, way before Apple removed it. This People have been buying wireless headsets way before the iPhone existed. You had people that were buying these that were using radio frequencies so they could use it and plug it into their TV, and then they would unplug and they'd plug it into their radio, and they would unplug and plug it into um, other things. I mean, I recall people plugging these into record players to listen to their vinyl. And wireless controllers and wireless technology has existed for many, many years. I mean, Wi-Fi, that technology existed before internet. That technology existed many years ago. And so when we think about stuff that's being done, it's because these companies know the market and they know the consumer and they know that either they'll adjust to some of these things or they already were. Otherwise, you would think that dongles would be selling like crazy. You would think that companies that were making, would make headphones that just plugged in via lightning. And none of that really happened because, yeah, they made the options, but people could go out and buy. And it also provided options where people were going out and people can buy cheap Bluetooth earbuds. They don't have to buy. If Apple did that and they're like, "Oh, we're gonna make money off from it," they could have made some sort of proprietary technology where you'd have to buy Apple stuff to get it to work at all. Yeah, there's some functionality that Apple provides as a benefit, but that's the way that they compete by, these features are specific to AirPods and some of the Beats because they have the chip and they aren't licensing it because that's how they compete. Other companies create Bluetooth earbuds and you don't get the spatial audio. You don't get some of these features. It's the same thing that's existed over years and years and years. You don't get LDAC unless the company's licensed it. You don't get um high quality drivers unless the companies have worked on and developed that technology. You don't get certain features in certain IEMs unless they've manufactured it. That's how we compete by differentiating. And so it's annoying to see people like, oh, they're doing it. Yes, of course they are, because expanding into other markets. Otherwise, Apple would just be a computer company. But even way back in the 80s, when Steve Jobs left Apple and was working for Next Computing, there was the Next tablet, and he envisioned what a lot of the things that we see in iPads and we've seen in other companies, like the handwriting to text conversion that existed way back then. And then we saw people that were converting MacBooks and adding that on there because it's integrated into Mac OS and has been since basically the beginning. And iPad OS and iOS are just a mobile version of that using similar code. And so these features that we're seeing now have existed over 40, like 30 years ago, 35 years ago. And we've seen other companies do it. We've seen Microsoft do this, continuity. And then Samsung Dex uses this continuity functionality by plugging in, and you keep going from where you're going. And then they're partnering with Samsung, or Samsung's partnering with Microsoft, and using the integration so that your phone links up and your messages go through and you have the Europhone and you have all this stuff. But other companies have been doing this. A lot of what we're seeing today is not original. What's original about it? What's unique about these functions? It's just a new way of doing something that's existed for years, and it's all to make it faster, to make it smoother, to make it available for more people by people not necessarily having to even have internet, or not using data so that it's faster, so it's not relying on your data speeds. By putting the AI software on device, it's not reliant on your internet connection, your cellular connection, to make the functions operate faster, to make it give you answers faster, to make it control the device faster. There were the days where you would say something, and then that query would be converted to code, which would then, that text would be sent off, and then that text would be analyzed by software, and then the response would be sent back via text, and then the device would take the text and convert it to audio so that it would reply to you. And now we're seeing companies do that all on device. We're seeing companies take hundreds of gigs, if not terabytes worth of data, and break it down so that it's possible to be done within 50 megabytes on a device or smaller downloads, because all it's just kilobytes of text files. And we're seeing the way technology has shifted become so advanced because people just want things faster and they want it now, but it's not any different than what they wanted before: information, education, entertainment. And that is what people strive for. People watch YouTube, people watch Netflix. And if you think about it, it's entertainment as far as, music, art, other forms of art, silly movies, comedy, things like that. Then there's education as far as people want to learn. So instead of going to college, instead of paying out tons of money, they're going and they're paying and they're watching stuff and learning how to bake by watching cooking shows on the Food Network, or, on Netflix, they're watching some of these baking competitions, or they're learning how to do housework by watching This Old House, and you can watch it for free through, like the Roku app. People are learning, and people are doing things differently than were done years ago. But for the main point, the things that they're grabbing and the things that they're using technology to do haven't really changed. If we go back to, the 1920s and dancing and music production, and we started shifting into like R&B and hip hop, and um stuff like that, and rap is just rap is a conversion of that. We had slam poetry. um you had you can go back to the 1800s and see some of this stuff existing, and poetry um evolved over time. And rap is essentially poetry put to a beat. Rhythm and blues sections come into play. It's sped up. Everything's become more accessible because it's electronic, because you can order something and have it show up at your house the same day. If I wanted to learn how to play instrument, if I wanted to get back into playing piano, I could go online and order a keyboard and have it show up. Well, not right now, tomorrow, but like, because of Amazon Prime days. But previously to that, I could go online and order and have a keyboard show up tomorrow. I could order a whole band worth of instruments and have them show up at my door, over the next few days and sit down and watch tutorials and educate myself and learn to produce the things. But at the same time, it also provides opportunity where you can hire somebody to do some of these things. So let's say I just know how to write music and I'm going to sing it. And then I'm just going to sit down and I'm going to take and, use a pencil and tap out on the desk what I want for the beat. And I'm going to tap out that beat for the drums, for the cymbals. I'm going to tap out I'm going to kind of hum the tune that I want the guitar to play. And then I'm going to send that out to people who play the drums, who play the guitar, who um, maybe play um, harmonica or play different instruments. I could create those things electronically, and there's AI software that will help you create that as well. Well, all of this is to be said that take advantage of the technology that you have on you and do something with it that makes a difference. Because if you're asking these companies, I don't know why this keeps, if you're asking these companies to do things that make a difference for us, to do things that are exciting, to do things that are entertaining, why aren't you doing that either? That's the question. Like, I strive every time that I do a live stream, every time that I do a video now, why sometimes it takes me more than a week in between is because I want to do something that makes a difference and that's different. And that's what life is all about. And that's why I think over and over and over again, the definition of I don't only talk tech, I live it, and what I'm seeing about that kind of mantra for my channel has evolved and changed. And I want to see others do that. I'm sick of hearing basically the same thing repeated over and over and over again every week. What are you doing to do something different about it? Like, realistically, complaining doesn't do anything. Words with no action shall not move a ground. I can sit there and I can yell at the ground as hard as I want, but oil won't come out of it. I could walk into a cave and yell as hard as I want at it, but I won't strike gold. I could go down to a river and yell at it, but that won't help me pan for diamonds. You know, make a difference with the way that your actions are versus the way that the words that you speak. Do things to help others, and that is how you benefit when creating content, with creating art, with creating music, with inspiring. Because what I do is my art form. My words are the way that I portray the essence of who I am and who I want to be, and the goals and the things that I ask of others is a way of bettering the world, because I can't just do it on my own, but I can't make anybody do anything either. And so I think that part of my quest, my journey over time, and what I've learned through creating content is that I can do better by myself, for myself, and I can ask others to do that as well. And, when we see channels that get hundreds and hundreds of comments, it's either because they did something and they messed up and everybody's going to let them know, or they're helping somebody and people are thankful. People are like, "Oh, thanks for letting me know this," or, "Thanks for helping me," or, um, "Okay, how do I do this now?" And so rather than waiting for people to ask the question, provide the answer ahead of time, and people will enjoy that. People will love that. People will benefit from that, and you will benefit from that in return. If I'm making paintings and I just keep creating the same painting over and over again, I'm only going to feed to the people that want either that type of art, that subject, or just enjoy the particular colors in it. But I'm not going to appeal to more people than that. If I bake a cake and I only ever bake vanilla with vanilla frosting, I'm only ever gonna get vanilla people. But the minute I start adding caramel and chocolate and color sprinkles, and I start offering frosting and colors that you don't see other people do, and I start offering unique shapes and unique textures, and maybe even ways of using like a printer to print images on it, and there's all sorts of things you can do. Is the minute that I would become a baker that stands out, the minute that I'm not just throwing knives as a chef to entertain, but providing food that's unique in flavor, that's maybe something that teaches somebody about culture and that appeals to people, and maybe even foods that come from um, a particular culture that that culture didn't know came from that. Is the minute that you benefit and you provide a unique experience to people, and it keeps them coming back and it keeps them wondering, what more are you going to provide? It's fantastic. This all relates to technology, and this all relates to how I see these companies need to shift. And what I've noticed is that Apple is shifting in a way where they're providing things like SharePlay so that you can teach somebody from your device without having to have another device. I can pull up an iPad and I can share my screen and I can show, um, I did this the other day. I showed my parents, hey, this is the new cameras I got. If you ever guys want, security cameras at your house, let me know, buy these. I can set them up for you. Or here's how easy it is to set up because I could share on the screen the app. Huge advantage to helping educate other people by using one device to help maybe elderly family members or just to share the joy in a precious moment with groups of people and getting their reaction by sharing on device a video clip that I took of my son, or funny signs that I found, or me singing or whatever it is. To be able to share that in the moment is incredible. And that's when I hop on a live stream and I'm sharing this in the moment. I haven't scripted any of this. This is just me sharing my heart, sharing what's on my mind, a bit of myself, a bit of the chaotic mind, a bit of, things that I'm thinking about that I hope others will think about and I hope that benefits you all. And, when I sit down and I turn on the camera and I think about what am I going to talk about? I want to talk about something that's relatable. And I think to everybody wants to learn more and everybody wants to get more out of their life and from other people, but are afraid to ask it because they think, well, it's going to make me look cheap. You know what? It's not, because the value that I get when people come to me and they are, commenting on videos, it shows me what type of content I should do. If I drop a video and I don't get any comments, to try to not make that type of content again, to try to fix something. Maybe it's the topic. If it's obvious, like audio quality or video quality, well, I can fix that and continue on the topic. But when it comes to relationships, that's what we get out of what we provide to everybody in the world. That's what I get out of what I provide when I sit down on camera, when I record a video, when I give a live stream, is the response is showing me what I've provided to my viewers is something that they enjoy, something they learn from. And even if it's just one or two people watching, that's something that's awesome. And even if nobody watches it when I go live and people watch later, that's awesome. But I hope at some point that no matter what I do, it benefits at least one person. And, whether that person subscribes because they're new or not is up to them. And it's something that, I wish they would. But sometimes maybe it's just that one topic or that one video that struck them, and so they watch it. But as long as I keep making content, I can't boil it down. I can't focus on one specific company or topic all the time. And, I'm trying to not be all over the place and not cover all sorts of tech. And I've gotten pretty well down to smartphones and some audio and, accessories related to it. But then ecosystem is necessary because companies are expanding more and more, and the things that you can do with your phone and how it becomes like a central base of what you do is important. And I think that that's how I see life and technology mixing together is you as a person are the central important essence of an ecosystem that is your family, your friends, and the people that love you, and the people that you help, and the people that you educate, and the people that you inspire, and the people that inspire you. And it's a two-way road is how you earn and how you benefit from the value that you provide other people, and the other people in turn provide value back to you. And it's not, about money, and it's not about the things, but it's about time that you just take with each other. And that's what I'm so grateful for, the time that other people put into their videos and the time that people put into their live streams, and, people being funny and people being about providing humor, and people providing, thoughts, and, when I have questions, people replying. And, I sit down and, in about 15 minutes here, Wired Wednesday will be happening. And I know that there'll be discussions of topics, and I know that people will have questions in the chat, and there'll always be certain people um, in the comments that always have funny things to say, or people that are, all about a particular brand, and that turns into humor. And the joy, though, that I see when groups of people, get together, and it might be just the same people that I see every week, but there's such joy there. And I know that they're taking time out of their busy days to spend time together because they've come to know each other and their family, and they don't just interact on there. And I know this, and I've experienced this. And that's what I think that I'm grateful to have gone from just watching to being a part of content, to being a part of creating, to being a part of behind the scenes, to meeting so many wonderful people, because it's made me realize that that exists for me to give to other people, and for other people to give that same experience to me. And it's awesome and it's inspiring. And I think that whether it's technology or music, or, we're sculpting, we're painting, we're drawing, drawing on technology, taking photos with the technology, doing 3D rendering versus getting our hands on actual clay, 3D printing, all sorts of incredible stuff that we do with technology. It's always better when it's done for other people and not just for us. If a company provides something for me and it's not going to benefit other people for them to send it to me, I'm not going to accept it. And a company reached out to me and I said, "Sure, because you know what? I know your products will benefit magnitudes of people because it's not something that's specific to one company. It's not, a case that's specific to one product. It's not earbuds that work specifically best with an Android phone or an iPhone. It's not that. And that's the great part of exploring technology. That's the great part of sitting, talking, getting to know my fellow people through each and every video that I do, through each and every reply. When I have new people come on, when I have people replying to old videos, and um, and then somebody else might answer them because I might not have the answer, because I might not have that product anymore when it's a year, 2 years ago, or might not recall the answer because I've updated and I'm not on that version of software anymore. and so I can't answer that question related to that version of software. The fact that there's this mutual connection that people have with each other within the comments is awesome too. And that's something that I just love doing what I do. And I love the direction that it's going. And I'm so grateful to the almost 800 people, with 785, I'm getting there, almost 800 people that have chose to subscribe because they want to know what I'm doing. They want to be notified and they want to see it pop up in their subscription feed. And I'm also so grateful to the other like 90% of people who watch and don't subscribe because maybe they just forget about it or they're watching on their TV and, don't go in and hit the button, or, my content shows up during other people and they just watch it. But I'm still grateful for that because they didn't skip it. People comment without subscribing because maybe they don't watch YouTube often, or they were recommended my video and they're not really into tech that much, and it was the one thing that I said. So, continuing to do what I do, talk about technology from all different companies and little things that I've discovered and little neat discoveries that nobody else has really talked about is something that is awesome to me and I hope to continue to do. And I love sitting down each and every week when I live stream, and I hate when I have to miss it because, I'm not feeling well or, family emergency and things like that. But I'm so appreciative when people come back when I'm doing this. And I'm hoping to continue to do this. And I'm hoping to, find my groove in it and, get guests back on again. Trying to get things set up back in play with that, get things set up with my interview type channel, doing, behind the minds and things like that. And so I hope you all have a good rest of your night. And anybody who caught this on replay, let me know down in the comments. Thanks to Easy Computer Solutions, Rens, Tech for Your Needs, Snee Mobile Tech, Miles Tech, anybody who came through the live, thank you all. I appreciate everybody, and I hope that you all have a good rest of your week. And as always, I don't only talk tech, I live it. I love it. I'm enthusiastic about it. And I hope to see you all the same time next week, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I'll see you all in the chat in a few minutes as well over on Easy Computer Solutions. Good evening, peace, love, and God bless.